I got trained by some pretty powerful folks at the time and wound up doing radio shows there. And those radio shows led to me doing commercial radio, probably, if pop oriented stations, we were the brain trust behind the Hot 97s and all that in terms of how they initially started. And that was KML. So I was there, myself, Sway, King Tech, a whole bunch of us, Fred Reck, we all came in around the same time in 91. And simultaneously, I was doing a show on Pacifica, which I still do. And that morphed into Hard Knock Radio. So we're in our 21st year doing Hard Knock, and we're in about 10 cities. So that's pretty much it. I do a lot of writing, and I'll just conclude in saying my writing opened up the doors for radio, and I've always owned my publications. I've always owned my media platforms, and I've always used those to open up opportunities in other arenas. I also been on the internet, which I think you referred to probably in the early 90s. So I've been doing that early on. So that's it.
I forgot about KMEL, man. That was hip hop at its finest during the 80s, 90s. So yeah, forgive me for that slight. And I know you mentioned Sway and Tech and all of those good folks during that time. To us on the East Coast, that was like one of, if not the premier, because we know it was getting that national attention, and it kind of turned us on to what was going on the West Coast. So
and we didn't know at the time all the things we knew now, because we would sit in the room of those program directors and give suggestions and things like that. To the credit of Sway and Tech, they parlayed that and were actually consultants for the stations eventually. I got into management, but I don't think anybody will ever give the full credit in terms of what we were doing, especially when it moved in political directions. MC Hammer, who many people wouldn't know, walked up in there and started a prisoner show, how do we get people off the streets? And he started this thing called Street Soldiers that he hosted for a year. The credit now goes to Joe Marshall, but it was Hammer who conceived and was able to leverage his popularity and influence, to say, let's put this type of show, and not at 4 a.m, but we had all our shows at prime time, like 9 to 11, like Sunday evening from 8 o'clock until, and those things, like I said, we didn't know the intricacies of radio until later on, but it was a good heyday, in terms of what we did. And I think a lot was accomplished.